Just a little update on BB-8. I've got the first two thirds of the head printed here. The third one is being printed as we speak. And I just, because I've got the ring pretty much sorted out now, I just wanted to make sure that these are going to fit together okay. So what I've done is obviously read through the instruction guide on the BB-8 Builders website, because it's really thorough, really good, very well written, to credit to the guys that did it. They've mentioned using PLA strip in here, 1.75mm. Now my printer uses 2.85, so I don't have any filament that thin. So what I've done is I've just cut some cocktail sticks up and used CA cyanoacrylate to glue them in. And what I've done is I've done the right hand side of each face. So the right hand one on that side is going to go to the left hand side on that one, and so on and so forth. I think that's actually the other way around. And I'm not going to glue the first two because I can't see, if you've got the first two glued in place, and this by the way gives a superb fit, I'll show you in a moment, but if you get these two glued and solid, I can't see how you'll have the flexibility to open up the back end, as it were, and get the other one in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all three pieces and I'm going to place them like this. Just start the pegs going in, and then I'm just going to glue in the side here, and I'm going to basically close all three up together so they pull up straight. Not sure if it's necessary, maybe I'm worried unnecessarily. Perhaps someone can let me know in the comments, but that's what I thought I'd do. And I'll just literally put the camera down when I put these two together, and I'll show you just how good a fit these pegs give you, and how perfectly, again, those drawings have been done by the guy. Okay, that's not glued, it's literally just pushed together, and if you look through you can just see the little pegs in there, the light coming through. But it's nice and square, it's beautifully lined up. A little bit of filler down there. Might even try some PLA welding, a little bit of PLA strip in the end of a rotary tool like a drill or a Dremel, and just literally almost sort of draw it up here as you're spinning it, and it should just melt the plastic together. So I might try that, or I might just go for the CA, let it dry, and then some filler. But it's a nice joint, but the lines are perfectly in line. Really happy with that. So here we go. Here I'm working on BB-8's radar eyepiece. These are 3D prints which have come out really nicely. I've just painted that with a matte black. It was black material anyway. That's the internal for the radar eye, which is nicely detailed. That just fits over. There's little notches so you can line it up straight like so. This is a little cutting guide. To make the lens, I've used, these were, or are, I think you get them in 10 packs, so I got this from Amazon. They're 80mm Christmas decorations. They're balls, half spheres, and you can open them up, put something in them, and then hang them. And all I've done is, that's where it used to hang, you see. So what I've done is used a drill, because I don't have a rotary disc for my Dremel at the moment, so I've just used a drill to sort of chain drill all the way around on the large side, and that's given me a nice little hemisphere. That's just dust in there, that'll come out. And now what I'm doing is I've deliberately cut it oversides so that I can smooth the edge away, and now I'm just literally taking it backwards and forwards. I'll have to show you with a backwards and forwards on there, and then doing that until I get, I think it should be about 87.5mm, and that's, sorry, 67.5mm, beg your pardon, just getting myself in. Yeah, so a little way to go. It almost fits, but not quite, to go in there. But yeah, so a little more sanding until that just drops nicely in there, and job done. Okay, this is another part that's being 3D printed, courtesy of the BB-8 Builders Club. They're the ones that produce these magnificent 3D drawings, PDFs,
plans, instructions, all of it basically, and then sorted out all the legal to allow us to share these and to use them as long as they're for personal use. So big thank you to them actually while I'm mentioning them. That's the BB-8 Builders Club. There's the original club, which I think is in the US, and now there's the UK version as well. Look them up if you're interested in doing any of this. This is part of the mechanism that's going to, this is called the, this is the body magnetic mount. So basically this is going to be up inside the top of the body, the sphere, and then those three bolts, basically those three holes, are just going to be bolted to a platform with some magnets in it, and then that's a convex shaped part. And then there's a concave shaped part which will be on the bottom of the head, so it can follow the contour of the sphere, and that equally has three opposite magnets. For ease of knowing where I am, I'm going to put the north pole of the magnets into the head, the south pole of the magnets into the body. So up, down, north, right, north, south, that sort of stuff, just so I know where I am. There's a lovely little bit on here. I don't know if you can see. I'm going to try and turn the camera around. A bit of sense of humour here in the club. Someone's put some text onto this drawing. I don't know if you can see what that says. Calrissian Industries, as in Lando Calrissian from The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So nice little touch there. So it looks like the parts for BB are made by Lando Calrissian's empire. His industrial or business empire, I should say. Anyway, just a little bit of a show of that. By the way, if you're wondering, this is how much thought these guys put into these parts. The little dip there, there's three of them, equally spaced around it. It's so you can get a palette knife or a screwdriver or something and get that in and just gently twist it to lift it off the print bed. I thought of a lot of potential issues and challenges that you'd face on a build like this, so yeah, very good, very impressed with the way they've done it. Hi all, it's time for another BB-8 update. I've got a few things going on at the moment. On the printer, we're printing the first of the body panels. Sorry, I beg your pardon, the second of the body panels, and the reason I say second is because the first of the body panels is there. So that's one of the discs on the side. Some of that will be white, some of that will be painted silver. And while I'm doing that, I've got a few other bits and pieces going on. I'm trying to come up with a lens for the holo projector because I can't get one of the glass. There's like a cobalt blue 20mm hemisphere or 16mm hemisphere, I think it is, but I haven't tried getting hold of one of those. So I've just first attempt at drawing something on 123D design and printing it out. It's a little bit too bulbous and a little bit too big, so I'm going to redo it. But the idea was to try and do some sort of round lens or some sort of spherical lens, but that's too big, so I'll try again. But I thought, well, I'll try that and try some Tamiya clear blue just to give it a little bit of a hint of blue, but of course it will let the light through it, so we'll see. In fact, let's do a little test while I'm with you. So we'll put the phone down like so, and we'll put that over it. Yeah, it's not too bad actually. It probably looks a bit weird for you guys on the camera. Just turn that off. So, okay, so that's a possible. And the other thing I'm doing is I'm looking at this. Now this is the radar eye, which has on the part, this is the internal sensor part, has space for 6 LEDs. Now, in every shot in the movie, and on the Anaheim stage for Star Wars Celebrations, he's only got one LED lit, but it looks like the other 6 are in place. So what I'm going to do, because this is going to be sealed up and may not be easy to get back into later on, I've decided to build it with all 6 LEDs in place. I'm just going to light the first one, and then if I need to do anything with the others, let's just say for example that in Star Wars 8 or 9 we suddenly see him doing the Cylon thing, you know, where it's going to go across like that, then I've got the bulbs in place and I'll have access to the wiring, so in theory I could go and change it later and add some sort of little controller board to make the lights do something more interesting. So for the time being I'm just going to keep it screen accurate and just have the one, but I think it might be interesting to have the others there. It looks more complete, it looks more realistic, I think, with all of them in there. And then we just light the one, because obviously this will have a dome over it as well, so you're not going to see much, especially in the dark. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, this video is part of the BB-8 build. What I'm doing at the moment is I've printed out a couple of the panels, which they make up the bodywork. Now these are 3D printed parts. One of them I've sanded down a little bit, the other one I haven't yet, and I thought there's no point in sanding them down and getting a nice finish until I've joined them, sealed them, etc. So I thought I'd show you what I'm doing for anyone wanting to have a go at this and not too sure. Originally I did a knock-up, or a mock-up I should say. I bought one of these from a guy on eBay, or a company I should say. This is a 500mm or half meter polystyrene sphere. The other half is in the house, and you can see how they key together. And originally I was thinking that was going to be like a mock-up sort of body, but what I've discovered is not only would it make a mock-up body for a static version if you sort of covered it in latex or something to harden it, but it just happens to be the right circumference, because BB-8's diameter is 506mm, this is 500mm. So by the time you print these, the radius inside is almost perfect for these. Almost perfect. In fact, you could always make this the internal shell. Almost. Anyway. Or another idea that's just hit me is to cut this into a skeleton to make the inside. Anyway, we'll see. I was really going to 3D print and do something a bit better than that, but we'll see. So lots of ideas, lots of options open at this stage, but the bit I'm doing now is I've got this BB-8 has 6 of these unique panels. They're all different shapes. Some have got lights in, some are little doors that pop open. And they all need to be, because of the size of the printer, you have to print them basically like that in 2 halves and stick them together, just the way I did the head, the dome. So what I'm doing, I just thought I'd show for anyone wanting to do the same. The CAD files, the STL files from the club, and I should say this is all possible and so much easier because of the existence of the BB-8 Builders Club and of course the Astromech.net R2D2 Builders Club. If it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't even attempt this. So a big shout out and thank you to them. And if you're interested in joining, just do a little Google search for them and you'll find them. Once you've joined up, then you can access this stuff and build your own. So in the drawings you've got all these little holes that are marked out in each panel, and they are, because of course it's CAD and computer printed, the holes are in exactly the same place. Beautiful fit. So what I'm using is, instead of just gluing it together, which would be rather weak, although I'm using this stuff, which is cyanoacrylate super glue gel because it will fill the crevices and the imperfections better than a liquid would. So what I'm doing is I'm making use of these holes. I'm making little dowels. You can use the 3D printer filament because these holes are 2mm in diameter. Now my printer is bigger than that. It uses bigger filament. Mine is the Ultimaker 2 Plus. It uses 2.85mm filament. So if I put a 3mm hole in there, it might weaken it a bit. So just as it happens, a cocktail stick is 2mm. So what I'm doing is I'm just sanding down the edge, making sure the hole is clean, popping in the, oops, sorry, I do apologise, popping in the cocktail stick, cutting it off, and then just sanding a little sort of chamfered edge on the other side. I'm leaving about, I don't know, 5mm, like so. And then I'm just using a little bit of sandpaper just to put a chamfer on it, and then that will nice and easily fit inside the mating half. And once I do a dry fit and everything meets up, then I'm going to glue them together, and I'm going to let it sit and let it cure, let the glue go off basically, on top of this dome, so it's held in
an almost perfect radius or curve. So that's the plan. Anyway, I'll do a bit more, come back and show you how we're getting on. Okay, so I've just done a dry fit on that. That all works nicely. They fit together pretty well, so hopefully that gives you a good illustration of how that works. I must admit, when I put them together, they fit so well, it's really quite tough to pull them apart again. So when there's some CA in there, that should be a really nice strong joint. So I shall do that and then come back just to show you how I'm going to let it set up and let the glue cure. Okay, so this is our first body panel. Panel 1, both sides of it. Panel 1, 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. I've used the cocktail sticks to basically pin the joint, and then I've used gel super glue. So this is CA, cyanoacrylated super glue, but it's in a gel rather than a liquid, so you can get a nice good joint between two surfaces, and that's joined very well. It's very, very strong. It's kept the right shape, so that looks good. So yeah, quite pleased with that, and I'm going to now just put some putty. I've got some fast drying white putty here, model filler basically. I'm just going to pop that down that centre seam, and then I can give that a nice sand down and prime it ready to be painted later. There's going to be, some of it's going to be silver, some of it's going to be white, and then there's the orange rings that go around it. So okay, I've just used some white putty just to fill in basically the way these print. These edges are lovely around here, no problem at all, but these edges, because you use support, it builds like a framework, like a scaffolding underneath, so it's left a bit of a rough edge in there. So while I'm doing the centre seam, I thought, well, I'll just pop some filler on those side seams as well. It looks rough at the moment, but once it's all rubbed down smooth and painted, that should look pretty good, hopefully. And I'm going to mount some little blue LEDs, because that light, those 4 lights are supposed to light up, I do believe, on BB-8. So yeah, so I'll let that dry and go in and see how the next one's doing. It's on the printer at the moment. Okay, here's the next one of the panels. There's what, 21 minutes remaining, and that's what we have. You see the support on the sides there, which is what needs to be removed, and that's what on the one I just showed you, that's what needs to be rubbed down and sanded down. So it's all this here, this is just support structure. In fact, it looks like on the other side a lot of it's broken away, but it looks like the support has worked. Yeah, so it's busy just finishing off the last bits. Fascinating to watch these machines, absolutely amazing. So there we go, so that'll be the next piece, or half of the next panel I should say. And then I've just got to check to see how much material I've got left. I've probably got enough left on there to do one more, hopefully. I'll get that going next. Okay, I'll catch up with you a bit later. Okay, we're down to the last minute or so of this print, so I just thought I'd get some video of it. Anyone who's interested can see how this works and how it comes, in what happens at the end of the print. And there we go. So I've learnt at this point to just leave it now until the plate cools down. The build plate's quite warm. The build plate is at the moment 59 degrees C, and PLA can be reshaped above 40 degrees C, so I try not to take it off the plate until we're under 40 degrees so it doesn't warp it. So yeah, so that's the third one done. I've just printed myself, sorry, changing hands. I've just printed myself off a list. So that's now panel 2, 1 of 2. So I'm starting to prepare over here panel 2, 2 of 2. So that'll be the next one. I'm going to be careful. This software has a habit of crashing on both the PC and the Mac. Actually, it's not great. It's quite annoying, but there you go. So I'm just going to actually, so for anyone who's doing this, I'm using a 0.6mm nozzle. I'm printing in PLA on normal settings, which is doing layers of about 0.1 of a millimeter. It's going to take just under 11 hours to print. It's going to take 12 meters of filament, and it's going to, or 93 grams of filament if you want to measure it that way. So I've spun it around so it'll fit on the plate. So I'm just going to send it to the SD card, which I can now eject, and then I can take that out of there, and take that one out of there and pop this in. I sort of prepare one and I swap between the two. So I'm going to let this cool down now, and then I'll show you what happens when I come to remove it in a little while, but I'm going to let that cool down first. Okay, right, we've now got the print finished. You can remove the print, which means the bed's cooled down. Now, with a tall object like this, usually, this is the scary bit, that's fine, that came off easy. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but that's not a bad print. All this round here is just support material, so that'll break away, and we'll have another nice piece to go with the ones in the shed, which I'm just glued together. Okay, this is part of the BB-8 build. These two discs are both halves of the dome magnetic mount, which is the coupling that attaches the body and the head. And what they have is inside each, if we take this one for example, this one is the bottom of the head, so we're looking at it the right way up, so that's the top, and it's got a curved radius on the inside, like a concave bit that will follow the profile of the dome. And then what I've done is I've got a load of these, which are very, very strong magnets, neodymium magnets I believe. So each one of these is 25mm diameter by 5mm thick, and I've doubled them up. There's 2 in each of the slots, and that produces, each one produces 11 kilograms of pull. So far in there we've got 11, 22, 44 kilograms of pull in that at the moment. And then on the other side we've got exactly the same, except for these are the South Pole version, those are the North Pole version. So hence we're going to have the attraction where we want it. So you've got to be careful if you're building these. It took me a few minutes to work it out, and the hazards of working with magnets, you let go at the wrong time and they'll snap and they'll absolutely crush your skin between them, and you get some nice blood blisters as a result. Really hurts. So well, smarts. So yeah, so watch yourself. And what I'm doing is I'm keeping both. That's why they're so far apart. And I've got the pile of the south magnets there and the north magnets over there. It's really important when you take these out of the boxes, keep them well away from each other. And even when I'm putting these together in here, I'm doing them one magnet at a time. I'm keeping them all very, very widely spaced. Otherwise they'll just fly at each other. I've already broken one, so I need to reorder one. But if they come together at such a speed and such a force that sometimes they will just obliterate, they'll just shatter. And I had one, the last one I broke, it just cracked down the middle. So yeah, you've got to be so careful. What I probably ought to do is put them on, maybe actually I might do that later. I might put them on these steel shelves, which might help me keep a bit more control on them. So there we go. So that's basically it for now. I'm building them all up, so there's a layer of glue underneath to stick them into the 3D printed part, although the force will be pulling the right way to strengthen it, not weaken it. So it's a layer of glue, then a magnet, then another layer of glue, which then I drop the second magnet on top, which just oozes the glue out and goes all around the side walls and down the middle. They're countersunk as well, so they can be fixed with a screw or a bolt. But what I've done is I'm using in such a way that I've made a plug out of two-part epoxy, which is really going to hold them together. So and then there's an enormous magnet to go in the middle, 2-inch diameter by 1/2 inch, and the pull on that is something like 45 kilograms on its own. So what are these going to have? They're going to have each one of those 22, 44, 66 plus 45. So we're talking 110 kilograms worth of pull between the two parts. Now there's the body in between, obviously, so that's going to be diluted, but that's basically the way to get these things to this thing to work. Dome's magnetic mount, basically there's a dome magnetic mount, which is this one, and there's a body magnetic mount, which is this one. And what I've done is, this is all again down to the blueprints of the BB-8 Builders Club, so again thanks to them, but also thanks to another company I've found, who are First for Magnets. Very quick service, very good service, and they had everything I needed. I originally tried to order some of this stuff from the States, and they wouldn't ship it because these magnets are so powerful. There's some issues with shipping them by air apparently, but these guys, absolutely no trouble at all, and not only that, they've shown quite a bit of interest in the project and really are supporting me, so that's fantastic. So basically what we've got, the dome is going to have, well, or rather the body is going to have obviously a spherical shape to it. So on the bottom of the dome magnetic mount, we have a slightly concave part which is going to basically glide over the surface. There's PTFE or equivalent ball bearings which are going to go into there. So we've got a large ball bearing through each of those, so they'll have little casters or little bearings to run on. And then I'll show you this later, but there's going to be one large ball bearing followed by 10 little ones across the top, and then there's the little bearing racers which I've printed, as this is all 3D printed. And the magnets, now these are 25mm by 5mm. They're neodymium magnets. Each one of these has 11.2 kilograms of pull to it. And there is 2 in here, 2 in here, and equally in these. And what I've done is I've basically, it's been interesting because you've got to keep these things apart when you're working on them. But you guys, you'll recognise your magnets possibly if you can see through the glue. So basically there's one magnet at the bottom, and then another one on the top, and then just a little bit of a cover of glue just to really hold these things in. I don't want them coming out and flying off anywhere. But that is basically going to be the top of the body, and that's going to be on an arm which is going to swing this way and that way, and it's also going to rotate. So that gives him the ability to nod his head, look up, look down, turn his head, that sort of stuff, which is what makes BB, if you watch some of the interviews with him on the website, when he did the red carpet run for the preview, and when you see him on stage at Anaheim for Star Wars Celebration, if you've not seen that, just type in Star Wars Celebration or Anaheim and you'll find that. That's when he amazed everybody, because everybody thought this was going to be just a puppet or a CGI, and then this radio controlled, fully working BB-8 rolled out, and the audience were on their feet, just couldn't believe their eyes. So that's basically how it's going to work. I shall give you another update later on. I've unfortunately I smashed one of the magnets. When I was trying to work out my polarities, I unfortunately didn't have good enough grip on one, and it went flying towards the other one, and hence the blood blister. but one of them just cracked straight down the middle. These are very dense magnets. They're very powerful magnets. So for anyone who's working with these, obviously, if you're building this BB-8, there's a lot of magnets in a very small space. There's going to be, I think the big ones are I need to do my math. There's a lot of pull on this joint. So anyway, that's it for now. I'll give you another bit of an update later on. This is the dome, obviously, which this again, it's all 3D printed. Everything you see here is 3D printed and then joined, and then it's just a case of sanding and puttying and making it all nice. And this is what we have inside. And there's obviously going to be some electronics mounted in here. There's going to be radio control. There's going to be some lighting, a soundboard so we can talk. And possibly, I don't know how I'm going to do this yet, this may come later, but there may be a wireless link between the electronics in the dome and the electronics in the body. I'm not sure, it might be a Bluetooth type link between head and body, we'll see. We've got another piece finished here, part of BB. This is body panel 3, 2 of 2, because obviously they're in halves. Now this has had quite a bit of time to cool down, so hopefully, yeah, just comes off nice and easy if you let it cool, if you have some patience, which I didn't have for the first week. Probably why I was having such trouble getting all the parts back off again. So, let's go and start preparing that and joining it to the other half. And actually I might as well get the next one underway. Hi there, I'm back on BB-8. I've printed out now all of the inner 2 halves of each inner panel. This is one of the orange pieces being printed, and that's going well. There's a lot of support structure. This is all support structure at the back because the whole thing is going to sort of curve up like that, so it needs some support. Here's how I'm laying them all out. So we've got the panel, the orange piece, and the verse of the triangular pieces. Now these, I'm using one of these, this is actually the sphere I bought right at the beginning to sort of test the idea of doing a BB-8. So because this is a 500mm and this is 506mm, it's pretty close, so it's quite good to use it as a sort of block to be building it on. And I've got lots of guides printed out as well. The other discs are all printed out there. This is the magnetic dome mount. So basically that is in the top of the body, that is in the top of the head, and we'll go like so. And there's 100 kilograms of pull between them. I don't get them any closer, otherwise they'll possibly break something. I'll put those in there to keep it out of the way. The head's coming on. Not happy with the hollow projector. I'm going to redo that. This is a clear piece of PLA I designed and sort of drew and printed. I've got the close profile, but it's clear, so I tried to paint it with Tamiya lacquer blue, but it looks fine like this, but when you light it, it doesn't look so good, so I need to redo that. And the LED they suggest putting in I think it's a 3mm LED, but for a hollow projector it's not bright enough. You want a real big powerful light on a hollow projector, so I'm going to redo that with as big an LED as I can find. The eye is wired up, and I've painted that grey on the outside now, black on the inside, as it should be. Originally I'd left it black, so those two are the same grey. This is where I printed out another one. I'm going to open that up and put a much bigger, more powerful LED inside. The magnets are now in place for the head, so if you find the right place, it'll just take it out of your hand and it'll hold it still, hold it down there so we can get in to change electronics and things. Tried a bit of the orange paint the other day. It was too bright, so I've gone over that and I've ordered something a little bit lighter. So we've got the silver ring, we've got the 2 black rings and a tiny silver ring above that, so that's pretty much as it should be. I've just got the orange paint to do now, and some weathering and a wash to highlight all the panels. Might need to do that again. I've got a couple of little dings in the top there, so I might do that again. And this should probably be more grey. It's a bit more aluminium at the moment. I think that needs to be more grey. So a few things being changed as I go. It's a very fluid thing at the moment. I've got the bearings, which are just awesome for this
dome magnetic mount. Thanks again to the guys who did all the work on this, all the design work at the BB8 Builders Club. Go and have a look if you haven't seen their site already. Absolutely brilliant. That's about it. So that's where we're up to. We've got all these. They're in various states of sort of sanding and smoothing. Some have only just been joined, as you can see. Some have had a few days worth of sanding and priming, but they're coming on. And this is the sort of thing we're going to have. I'm going to do a separate set of videos for R2. Basically, I've got a Lazy Susan for him now, so when I make a start on getting this, he can now rotate. He's on bearings. So yes, the droid factory is, well, busy droiding basically. Anyway, that's a little update for now. I'll show you a bit more later on. Got quite a few bits and pieces on the go. That's the first of the triangle pieces that sort of go, that bit goes in between the circles. So there's 3 parts of those to each sort of Y-shaped area. If I just point that out there, sort of to there, and then down to there. So it's going to go something like, can I hold this far enough away? Yes, I can. So it's going to go something like that, I think. Oh, that rings a bell. Back soon. Okay, we're back on BB8. Now what I'm going to do today is I've glued all the magnets in. This is the magnetic connector or magnetic mount, and what it does is it's going to attach there with 3 big sort of rollers in it, with some bearings behind them, and then you've got all the magnetic force by, there's a big 2-inch magnet in there, and 2, 4, 6 half-inch magnets, or 1-inch magnets I think they are, in there, in each of these holes, and that's providing a lot of force. And then there's the same in the mating part, which is in the body underneath the surface. These are the magnets I got from First for Magnets, very helpful guys. Last week, and there we go. So what I've now got to do is I'm just going to clean this off, get rid of all the glue, because I think one of these moved. This is the one that moved, so some of it started to creep out. So I'm going to make that nice and flat again, and then I'm just going to open up these holes, find these holes and trace them through. And then there's the bearings to mount, which I'll show you in more detail later, because this is an amazing little bit of planning and design gone on, and this is by the guys at the BB8 Builders Club, the founders of it. They've done such a good job, so big thanks to them. Again, I try and mention them every now and again, because although us guys that are building these, we're doing the actual work, they've done a ton of work doing the design and all the legal stuff to make it so that we're able to do these. So yeah, hats off to them. Okay, so I'm going to get myself sorted. I'm going to start flattening this off first, I think, so we've got a nice neat connection there, and then sort out the way of linking these, and then I'll show you how these bearings work. Okay, this is how we put the dome magnetic mount together. This is the head, bottom of the head part. Just picking up the screws already. Move those a bit further away. Very strong magnets in here. Right then, okay, so this is basically how it's going to go. So, large, I think these are called Delrin balls, they're like PTFE, and they're going to hang through like that, so it can move. And then, to make it move really well, yeah, there we are, Delrin. And then we've got 30 of these, so this is where I hope I don't go losing any. Actually, I need something to stand that on. So, courtesy of R2-D2, we've got that. There we go. So now the balls drop through. The ball bearings, I should say, I suppose. Whoops. And I love the way they've worked this out, because look at the way these fit. Just perfect. And then we have a little ball race there, which is going to fit in on the top, and then that's going to be sandwiched between the dome magnetic mount and the bottom of the head, the dome. So there's 10 of these in each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus a ball race, and the last one, whoops, I'm going to be careful with these, 3, 4, 5, 6, talk amongst yourselves, number 9, and number 10. Right then. Oh, we've got a spare one. Okay, cool. We have a spare. Okay, now depending on how high you want the ball to sit, the dome to sit on the body, there's actually two profiles of ball race. There's a high mount and a low mount, and there's a thicker one of these if you want the head to sit quite high. I've chosen to use the low one. I think it's going to be a little bit more accurate, more like the Anaheim stage radio control version that we saw. Okay, so there's 6 holes in there, and there's 6 holes in the bottom of here. That's going to sit on top, and now I've just got to find the holes and screw them in, so I'll have to put the camera down for a bit. Just a quick update on BB-8. We've got quite a lot of the panels printed out. In fact, we've got all the body panels printed now for these panels, I should say. That's the eye, which I've repainted dark grey on the outside. It's matte black on the inside, and it's got one of 6 LEDs in there. But there's only one wired up because that's the only one you ever see him on the film. But I've put the others in there in case we find out in later films he's going to do more. These are the lenses for the little data ports on the side of the head. That one will be lit blue, top one will be lit white, bottom one will be off, as per it's always off in the movie. These are the 6 different body panels. These are the access doors for all the utility arms, etc, etc. There's 6 of those, each printed in 2 halves. They're not smooth completely yet, they're not quite ready, but they're getting on there. They're coming on. Now these are some of the orange panels, again all 3D printed. Quite complicated. You've got 3 of ring 1, so I think it's 2 of ring 2 and 1 of ring 3, making 6 entirely, and they're all slightly different, or some are slightly different, and they basically fit over like so. Some of them need a bit of final sanding and filling and stuff to make them all fit nicely, but you get an idea. It's quite a nice fit there. That side needs a bit of, oh there we go, now it's gone in. Needs a little bit of work just to tidy it up, but not on the whole bad. The magnetic dome mount is complete in the head now with the little ball bearings, or large ball bearings. You can see how strong the magnet is because that's how much it's pulling down these bearings into the polystyrene, so hence I'm certainly not using that as the final body, but it's quite good for testing and experimenting. And I've just got some weights in there holding it down. This is the magnetic dome systems. You have that on the inside of the sphere, and then you have this one on the outside of the sphere, and they just follow each other around the circumference, or around the perimeter, or no, circumference it would be, wouldn't it, around the surface of the ball. Now this has turned up. I think this is about the best paint I can get that's a good match for BB-8's orange. So the time has come to try and get these panels painted. So I've just sat for just over an hour masking this head up. So hopefully I'm just going to go around and make sure it's all pressed down. It's not too bad to do actually. Basically I'm just laying the tape just over the gap and then just using my thumbnail just to run through and just make sure it goes down. We want the raised bit orange, we don't want the orange going into the groove, but we'll be doing a wash on it later on to weather it so that the grooves will be blackened again. So even if there is a little bit of orange goes down there, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. So lots of masking. The yellow tape is the Tamiya tape. It's fine, it's quite accurate, so I'm using that for the smaller areas, and then the big blue painter's tape for the larger areas. So now it was snowing this morning, so it's quite cold out in the shed, but obviously I'm not going to be spraying in the house, so what I've done is I've had a heater on in the shed for the last couple of hours, and that should be a nice dry and warm enough setup out there now to go and do some spraying. So time for a cup of coffee and out to the shed, and I'll give you an update a bit later on. Okay, scary time, moment of truth. After an awful lot of masking, I think we're ready for the top coat of orange, so let's see how it goes. I'm just hoping that's going to be the right shade. Come back to you shortly. Okay, first coat's on. I don't really like the way this spray is working. It's coming out very blobby, very globular. It's not a fine spray at all, it's quite a thick spray, so not so sure. Anyway, I'm going to give it half an hour, see what it dries like, and then try another couple of coats and see where we are. It's, a little disappointing so far. I thought this was really good paint, but no, it's just coming out a little bit too thick for my liking. So anyway, we'll see. I'll let the paint warm up a little bit more, and then give it a good old shake and have another go. But we'll see. Colour looks good. I must admit the colour looks good because I had a different one, which was the plastic coat one at the back there, and that was a little too orange. Hoping that well, I've got this as another paint I can try as well, but one of the guys in the BB8 Builders Club did his and it looked fantastic, and he said he was using the Liquitex, so I'm going to try that one. I'm going to give that every possible chance. Okay, this is about 4 coats in now. I think I've got the paint sorted. It's just a little thicker than I expected, so what I've done is I've just made sure the tin is warm, given it a good shake, and I'm a lot happier now with the way that's coming on. I think the colour's going to be okay, or very close. Again, it might be just a shade orange. I think there's just a little bit more yellow or khaki in the one in the film, but I don't know. It's so difficult because it looks totally different on the camera screen than it does in real life. So lighting affects everything. It's so hard to know. It looks a lot lighter up there, for example, than down there, and that's purely because of the light on the sphere, so on the contour. So I'm probably going to give it one more. Am I? I don't know actually. I was going to give it another coat, but I think that's probably had enough. I think that's probably looking okay. So what I might do is give this another hour or so. He says, but my impatience is gnawing away at me now, really gnawing away at me. I'm wanting to see what this is going to look like. I hope I'm not going to regret this. Actually, this is going to take some time. So far, well, let's see if we can get a bit round here. Let's see if we can. I want to see what it's like between the orange and the white. And I think I can do that by taking this piece. But I might, as I say, sometimes I do take the masking tape off a little too early, and I might be doing it now. Because I'm just dying to see what it's going to look like. Aha. Oh, okay, that's not bad. That's not bad, that little edge in there. I think I can live with that. I'm going to do a little wash later on anyway to make it look a little grubbier, because he's quite weathered in the film. Let's try a bit up here as well. This is easy to get to. Not got enough hands here. So much masking. But I think we might have a winner. Okay, yeah, I like that. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can live with that. Right, I'm going to take all the rest of the masking off, and I'll give you that final look, and then that'll be it for this video. So far so good. It's looking alright. It's that bottom bit where there's so many different lines and different edges and things, that's where it's going to be a bit scary, so I'll do a bit more unveiling and be back in a mo. Whew. Okay, that's all the masking tape off. I think that's going to be alright. I'm not sure what you guys think, but I reckon I can live with that. Whew. It's a bit of a result. So what I might do is just go and take this inside, put the holo projector and the eyepiece in, put the top on, and we'll just have that one final look to end the video. Okay, masking tape off. I've just put the eyepiece back in, the holo projector and the top of the head. And I think that's come out alright. Oh, I haven't put the other antenna on. I think I can just reach that without shaking you guys about too much. Bear with me. So there we go. Yeah, I think he's going to be all right. So that's it. I think right, we're approaching sort of 45-50 odd minutes worth of video here, so I don't want to bore you all to death, so I'm going to cut it there. So that's going to be the end of part 2 on my BB-8 build. I just want to say thanks to the guys at the BB-8 Builders Club for doing all the hard work with the drawings and the plans and the legal stuff. Quick thank you to First for Magnets for being really supportive and helping me figure out what to get for the magnets, because of course the plans are all in the imperial US sizes, and of course over here you have to get the nearest metric equivalent, so it wasn't quite so straightforward, but got it done. And thanks to, I can't remember his name, but the guy on the club who recommended that Liquitex paint, because I think that's pretty cool. Thanks all for watching. I hope this is helpful for anyone who's wanting to build their own BB-8. Stay tuned for the next part, and we'll see what's gonna, well, we know what's next really. It's more of the body, the panels, the rings, all to be assembled, and then I'm gonna get a sound card in here, some radio control, and then we've got the mechanics of the inside of the sphere to look at as well, so still lots to come.